Good afternoon, everyone. So I am Arjun B. Alemi, and together with my partner, he is Farhana Angkan. So we are the group two reporters. Our topic for today we tackled about the juvenile delinquency in the Philippines and R.A. 9344. So for the objectives. Explain why juvenile delinquency is difficult to explain. And second is know that the status of children is relative to adults and explain the role of the children receivers. And lastly, explain how media affects delinquent behavior. Table of contents. First is the status of juvenile delinquency in the Philippines. Second is what is juvenile delinquency in the Philippines. Third one is the causes juvenile delinquency in the Philippines. So the fourth one is the history of juvenile delinquency. And the fifth one, the five crimes the five crimes committed by most juvenile. And number 6 is the case of juvenile delinquency, and also the RA 9344 and the amendment of RA 9344. The number of juvenile delinquency in the Philippines increased from 10,388 in 2017 to 11,228 last year. With physical injury, the most committed crime by minors. The Philippine National Policewoman and Children Protection Culture in January. So example status offense is a non-criminal act that is considered a law violation only because of youth status as a minor. Typical status offenses include truancy, running away from home, violating curfew, underage use of alcohol, and general ungovernality. So that's for the status of juvenile delinquency. So anyway, what is juvenile delinquency in the Philippines? So in the Philippines, a child or minor or juvenile or youth is any person below 21 years of age except emancipated in accordance with law. However, a juvenile or youthful offender refers to one who is over years of age but under 21 years of age at the time of the commission of the offense. Example of this like running away, truancy, violating local curfew, underage smoking, and governability or being beyond parental control. Causes juvenile delinquency in the Philippines. So, the prevalence of juvenile delinquency is primarily due to poverty. According to the Philippines National Police, or in short, PNP. So, considering that theft is the common offense committed by children, adults, 60% of juvenile crimes fall under crimes poverty. So, here are the causes factors to juvenile delinquency. First is the poor attendance. Poor school attendance is one of the top factors contributing to delinquency. And poor educational standards, violence in the home, violence in the social articles, and peer pressure. So, socioeconomic factors, substance abuse, and lack of moral guidance. History of juvenile delinquency in the Philippines. Between 1976 and 1983, murder, robbery, theft, rape, and homicide rose from 37% to 58% of all crimes committed. Delinquent youth doubled from 3,814 in 1987 to 6,778 and in 1989. The majority, 59.1%, apprehended were between 17 and 21 years old, while another 31.8% were between 13 and 16 years old. Only 2.3% were per teens. So, the first juvenile court in the United States, authorized by the Illinois Juvenile Court Act of 1899, was founded in 1899 in Chicago. The act gave the court jurisdiction over neglected, independent, and delinquent children under age 16. Since the 1990s, youth crime rates have plummeted. A large portion of the population lives in poverty, and this leads to juvenile delinquency. So, the 5 crimes committed by most juvenile. So, roughly half of youth arrests are made on account of theft, simple assault, drug abuse, disorderly conduct, and curfew violation. So, young people may commit crimes. Some of these crimes are the same as adult offenders commit, with others are based on their age or other factors. Individuals who are conviction of juvenile crimes may need to contact a criminal defense lawyer to learn about their rights in the juvenile justice system. So, simple assault is by far the most common crime committed against juvenile, constituting 41% of all offenses. So, against juveniles known to police after that in decreasing order of magnitude are larceny, 6 of offenses, aggravated assault in the vandalism and robbery and kidnapping, motor vehicle theft, and homicide. So, example of the drug abuse: alcohol abuse, cocaine abuse, heroin abuse, and for prostitute abuse is commonly marijuana abuse through illegal use or possession of marijuana is commonly abused drug, and many people are unaware of its harmful effects. The disorderly conduct charge usually involves instances in which people speak disrespectfully, use profanity, or shoot obscenities at law informant of offenders. Violation of the same is punishable by jail time, fines, probation, or in the case of juvenile curfew, community service. So the severity of the punish all boils down to the government agency change with enforcing the law. The case of juvenile delinquency. So, in the case of child offender, special care should be given to his future, for it is yet in a budding state and is not beyond repair. Juvenile delinquency refers to the antisocial or criminal activity of the child below 16 years of age for boys and 18 years for girls, which violation violation of the law. So the case of juvenile is most juvenile courts have jurisdiction over criminal delinquency, abuse and neglect in status offense delinquency cases. So criminal delinquency cases are those in which a child has committed an act that would be a crime if committed by an adult.
R.A. 9344 has institutionalized the promotion of the well-being of the child and their families, involvement of parents and guardians, promotion of devotion, avoiding depression of liberty, and protecting the privacy of children. So RA number 9344 ay nag-institutionalize sa kapakanan ng mga bata or for example is to protect the privacy of children and also their families, parents and guardians. Is involved rin ito sa promotion of devotion, sa paglayo or pag-iwas sa matinding depression at stress sa mga problema. For example is kapag nag-aaway ang parents natin or ang ating pamilya, that is the one of the reason kung bakit nakakaramdam tayo ng mga stress at nagdudulot ito ng matinding depression sa ating bilang anak. Next is the reason of amendment of RA 9344. Amendment adopted of RA 9344 May 2006 adopted and amended May 2013 amended RA 9344 or the Juvenile Justice and Welfare Act or the Juvenile Justice and Welfare Act of a child-friendly justice system, focus on rehabilitation and restoration rather than punishment. So ang RA 9344 is ginawa ito noong 2006 at nabago ito noong 2006 at nabago ito noong 2013. O ang Juvenile Justice and Welfare Act o ang Juvenile Justice and Welfare Act or is gumawa or they create nagpatupad ng isang batas na kung tawagin ay ng isang batas na kung tawagin ay na kung saan ito ay nakatutok or nakafocus na kung saan ito ay nakatutok or nakafocus or to rehabilitate and restore or to pagrehabilitate sa mga parusang itinakda or pagbabalik sa mga parusang itinakda or ginawa ng batas. According to RA 9344, children who are vulnerable to and at the risk of committing criminal offense because of personal, family, and social circumstance such as but not limited to the following. Number 1 is being abused by any person through sexual, physical, psychological, mental, and economic. So, according to RA 9344, sa mga bata na gumawa ng mga criminal na gawain or pagkakasala or gumawa ng mga kasalanan na hindi naayon sa batas dahil sa personal na problem or sometimes dahil sa family, like for example is kapag may family problem tayo, sometimes malaki ang effect nito sa atin bilang mga anak or bilang bata. And that's why ang ibang kabataan is nakakagawa sila ng krimen because of that kind of problem or depression na hindi nila kaya isolve or they don't know how to handle that kind of problem na kanilang nararanasan to their life, and also hindi kinakaya ng kanilang emosyon. So the amended of RA 9344 was amended to include a much-needed prevention that established a comprehensive and juvenile intervention program, including creating intervention and support centers of children under the minimum age of criminal responsibility. So, ang pagbago ng RA 9344 upang isama ang isang importante na provision that comprehensive program kasama ang paggawa or to create the intervention at suporta sa mga bata sa ilalim ng pinakamababang age or edad ng criminal responsibility. Like for example is may mga kabataan na nakagawa ng criminal issue pero hindi ito pwedeng kasuhan or ikulong because they are underage or maaring hindi pa sila pwedeng kasuhan but they allowed to give them a punishment because of that krimen na nagawa nila. For example is pwede silang dalhin sa DSWD or else sila ay dadalhin sa rehab para panagutan nila ang kanilang nagawang kasalanan. Pero hindi sila pwedeng patulan or kasuhan or sa anumang hindi sila pwedeng kasuhan or anumang kaso na isasampa sa kanila.
So, for our insight of this topic is the concept of juvenile delinquency had become clearer to me. Juvenile delinquency does not only entail those acts by youth are against the law, it also encompasses behavior and deviates from normal behavior. So, example of juvenile delinquency intensity vary from very simple ones to huge simple acts of juvenile delinquency. Are the following: getting coins years without permission, lying about simple things like if one has finished his or her assignment or not. So, example of more ruthless act of juvenile delinquents are the following: alcohol and drug addiction, stealing, murder, and other heinous crimes. That's all. Thank you. I hope you come up something about this topic.